Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is our third session of Dune Adventures in the Imperium. Dune is obviously based on the Frank Herbert series and certainly takes a lot of inspiration from the various movie forms. And it's a 2D20 system game, which we're kind of in the process of testing out, learning the rules, figuring out where things are character-wise. And in particular, today, we're going to kind of have some chance to get some RP, get some paired up things, but at least at one point, I'm going to kind of hard frame us into a conflict so we can see how that plays out and how fast or how slow that works. So last time we had our groups meeting with the different houses with their own house. If you look on the house sheet, I've added a coat of arms for our house. So that's in there. And we've got the various NPC houses. We've got Saros and Vanister and Ovestre. And we met the person who is the arbiter of the change in all of that. But the three focuses that your Duke gave you, and that's again Duke, Ren, Darikos, they, them, gave you were assessment of the contract workers, because you talked about the interest about like what's going on with them, sort of the three groups and factions, finding out what's going on with them, maybe manipulating, getting some connections to them. That's all one thing. Then the other thing was the smugglers and where they're at, and the question of there being hidden mines out there, possibly done by Vanister or by smugglers or something else. And that certainly ties into the criminal networks. And then sort of lastly, likely as a connection to those things, finding out about where there are Ovestre agents possibly present here. You've got some information and suggestion that is the case. And Ovestre is important, of course, because they are the family that has the essentially assassin's duel, the Canley, with you at this point. So I'd like to start out with the pairings that we talked about last time, which is first with Christades, our Mentat, and Sister Samaya, our Bene Gesserit sister. We talked about you two heading out together to find out the information that you can about those contract workers, to see what's going on, to test the temperature of them, and see what you could find out. Christades, this is new planet, new task, and you are like paired with Sister Samaya, who you have a great deal of respect for, right? And Sister Samaya, what is your impression, your view on Christades, the Mentat?
Yeah, I think I worry about him because I think we established that I had a vision, like his knowledge will put him in danger.
So let's do the scene with the two of you. Like, do you imagine that we see you going around the city? Are you being taken by ornithopter to go to different camps? Are you having people brought in? What do you think is the approach for that, sister?
Do, do, do the workers have like a union leader or like a union headquarter or something like that?
There will be the equivalent of a shop steward, a person who speaks for everyone in different locations. So you could, for example, you could have them come in from the largest nearby camp, or you could go over to see them.
Yeah, I think maybe we will organize some sort of meeting between like the stewards and like us, me and Chris Tettis.
Okay. Do you have them come to the capital? Do you fly them in there, or do you have them gather at a particular camp?
I mean, if Christides is okay with it, I think I would have preferred to let them pick a location because, like, for one, we don't
Mhm.
like with like all the candy and like the threat, we don't want outsider to be too close to a house itself. And also, like, if they pick the location, we get to see like how they live, how they work, and like what they think is a good. Like even if they want to ambush us or whatever, we know what they're up to, right? We know how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me kind of set the scene for the two of you, what you like, where you're at, what's going on there, and then let's have it. I want to give you two a chance to interact. Uh, they would have come to probably the closest of the mining camps to the city itself, just out of courtesy. They would have chosen that place, and it is on the surface. There are the various buildings that handle storage, that handle the machinery for pumping heat down, for some workers' quarters and things like that. And around there, spaced out pretty far away from each other, maybe like half a kilometer away, are a series of these shafts that go downwards that have the different uh, uh, lowering things, elevators for going down, and probably some cut in where the structure is pretty good, underground kind of buildings or shops that they're working in. And we would assume that when you arrived, the steward of this particular shop, while everybody else is arriving, would have taken you down to show you the process. The mineral is called tetrakete. I put that on the house sheet there. And what it is it is a crystalline structure that they excavate from the ice. It is very sensitive to heat. So that causes it that some of the conventional techniques that they would use, they can't use. They have to use simple physical implements or sonics to remove these crystals. What it is these appear to have been like fossils, like these are the fossils of some creature, some sea creature from before, and the crystalline structure that makes them up is unique. When it's taken out and processed, it becomes a liquid crystalline matrix that is super useful for shielding, for armor, for reinforcing things. So that's the whole gist of it. And they will go down into there. And it is, if anything, even colder down in these tunnels. And you will see people kind of have to spread themselves out. They're hard at work. They're chilled. They have to go back and every few hours and do a check on their gear to make sure that they're still well insulated. The other thing is that you will see that they also, because of all the sonics, they have to wear ear protections as well. That is perhaps not as well enforced. And I think that is a thing that you will notice among the workers as you are going around, is very clearly hearing loss is a significant issue for them. But they'll take you on you two on the tour of that. The shop steward here is pretty close to the city because this mine is close to the border, so much more like in contact with the city. A notable servant of Vanister, certainly someone appointed by Vanister here, but being very deferring to the two of you. So let's get the scene as the two of you are waiting for the other shop stewards to come. Crusaders?
So I think I think Crusaders, to keep things from seeming like we've brought a bunch of people, like we probably have some security people with us, but I think Mercedes brought one of his engineers from his asset called the Triflers, because to outsiders it seems like they're just messing around. And I think the the Trifler person is taking notes, and I think periodically we see like shorthand, like vocalizations as well as hand signals, like in engineering language, going back and forth as Crusadus is, reviewing what they're seeing. So, like, if this was a TV show, you might see like subtitles indicating,
Okay.
like we need to find, or we need to test for alternate harmonics that are non-disruptive to native life forms to reduce deafness. And I think you see the side project kind of pull up to Cristatus of researching these creatures, right? We established that they were starfish before.
So there are the living creatures that are present on the planet that
Mm-hmm.
are these fairly
Mm-hmm.
substantial starfish. And what's clear from the fossils is that these are dinosaur-like primitive versions, huge
Mm-hmm.
starfish, starro-sized
Mm-hmm.
starfish that have been fossilized.
Yeah, so like they're basically the research is to research into the I'm not sure how to say this in the right term, but basically study the starfish creatures and how they've adapted to living here. And
So let me stop you,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
then I want to get like have
yeah,
your
yeah,
interaction with Sister Samaya.
mhm.
What is the one research project that you are like, this is the one that we want to do first?
Okay, good point. I think if deafness is the biggest thing, then dealing with the harmonics
Okay.
makes the most sense.
All right. So a little bit later, we'll have you do a roll for
Yeah,
the research project, and I'll talk about how those extended tasks work in this game. But let's have your conversation with
sure.
Samaya.
Yeah, so I think like he's signaling to her, like, what do you think of the people? Like, who should we start with first? What's her point of entry within the group? Beyond just like the normal, like, figureheads that might be here.
Yeah, I think I say something like I was about to ask you, like, where do you think we should start? Because I'm concerned about like the welfare of the worker and such,
Mhm.
but that may not be. I don't know. I know you are also concerned about that, but I suspect that may not be the top priority for the Duke or the House
Mhm.
as a whole. So I was wondering, like, based on your mental training and the interest of the house, what do you think? How do you think we should proceed first?
I think that we should, as a sign of respect and intention, try to solve some of the problems before we make any demands from them.
Yes, I agree.
So, and I'll mention potentially working on solving the deafness issue through science and engineering, but seeing if there are any underlying needs that are not addressed by science um, might be your way forward into here. See if they have a higher need as well.
Yes, yes, of course. I will look into that.
I think Christitis is looking to see if there's anyone who's obviously showing respect or symbols of the faith, and if there are, pointing them out to the sister, even though she probably sees them as like maybe that's someone we could talk to.
So it seems to me the two of you are kind of trying to obtain information, to gather information during this time as you're talking to people,
Mhm.
observing them, that kind of thing. Does that seem like a fair assessment?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Sister Samaya, let's start with you. Let's do a couple of rolls to get that, obtain information, to ask some questions, and then I'll cut over to Zapi and Pintle. Sister Samaya, this seems like either communication or understand for the skill that you'd be using. Which of those do you think is appropriate? Is it that you're talking to people, or is it that you're observing people?
Yeah, so I have a question. I have a talent called hyper awareness, which says when you spend momentum to obtain information, does that mean I have to roll first, or do I just spend momentum?
So you would, let me see, whenever you spend momentum. So it generally means that when you do the roll for the obtain information and you generate momentum, then you can get that bonus questions.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, let me see. I think I'm trying to understand because like I think I'm more observing than like talking.
Okay.
Though they are both four. Um,
And what do you think is the drive here for this?
yeah, I think it's faith because like it's kind of a moral imperative and also like personal like value that I think we should help these people, which
Yeah,
also like align with like the interest of the house because we need them to be reasonably happy. But I think for me, it's mostly about faith.
that seems perfect. So why don't you, if you haven't opened the
Okay.
roller, go ahead and open the roller, and
Yeah,
we'll
I
have you
forgot.
roll 2d20. Difficulty on this is generally for obtaining information, figuring things out as a difficulty 1 to get that sort of first question. So that's,
I got yeah.
yeah. So you've got 2 successes, which means you've got that point of momentum, which means that if you want to spend that, you're going to have 3 questions.
Yeah, I'm going to spend that one immediately
Okay.
for like.
So what is your first question? What is the first thing that you want to know?
The limits of what others would be able to magic do not apply to you for any question. Yeah, I think my first question is like basically who is really in charge here? Because like we know they have like figureheads like these sharp stewards, but like who among these people actually have the heart of the crowd? Like who is most listened to when they speak? Is it like an elder, like some kind of prodigy? Like
I think you will see that there are 2 people that seem to be like the poles, the different sort of magnetic drawing of people. One of them is very clearly the House Vanister appointed steward of one of the largest. People clearly talk to him. He's better dressed. His equipment looks better. He's definitely a has he probably historically had the favor of the Vannisters, and so people have flocked to him because he's been able to provide and get things done. And then the other one has a smaller group around him, but you have the sense that he's a little more worn out, a little bit older, maybe a little bit wiser, but he definitely has the people who are some of the contract workers and some of the locals. So there's kind of that division. And so you've got those 2 people. And there is for you, there's a clear kind of split. It looks like some of the contract workers kind of hang more with the locals and some of them hang more with the Vanister people. So you've got 2 more questions.
yeah, so my second question is what weakness do I perceive in the Vanister like leader? Like
Okay.
what our house may be able to like exploit to weaken their position or like shift the favor to like either us or at least the other leader.
So his name is Afama. I put that in the chat. Here is the thing. He's putting on a very brave face, trying to maintain, his status, and he's talking to people like everything's going to be okay, we're all good, but he is terrified right now because he has survived by being a favorite of the Vannisters, and now everything has changed, and he does not know if he is going to get ousted or if he's going to be left in place or if he's going to be arrested or anything like that. So I think that the real thing is he is desperately uncertain. He's had it good and he doesn't want to lose that. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think my final question is that, like, what Christides asked me, which is like, what is like a non-material need that's most pressing for these people right now? That something they want or need that just like material or money or like can solve like their spiritual or emotional need. What do they need the most right now?
I think it is like there is a real feeling of uncertainty here. They don't know what's going to happen. They have no idea. There's been no statement. There's been, they don't have an idea of like where things are going to be going. Like, are you going to continue the mining? Are you going to do something else? Are you going to bring your own people? I think everyone is here, and like the contract workers are like, how, if they close us down, how are we getting off world? Are they going to renege on our contracts? Are they going to leave us hanging? Are they going to change our contracts? That's the main thing, is everyone has that feeling of uncertainty. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. That's cool. So I think I relate this all to Christides, and I think I ask him, like mainly I ask him, what do you think we should do with Afama? Because like we can try to get him on our side, we can try to oust him. There's like many ways we can deal with him. Which way do you think will serve the house and pleases the Duke the most?
I think what we see to kind of close out the scene is Christidas gives this sort of like dreamlike stare to Afama's direction, and he sort of just murmurs, "I have plans for him."
All right, so let's cut from there, and let's cut to Pin and Zoppy. And the talk was the two of you kind of either feeling out what the criminal structure is like, or finding a way in, or infiltrating. So where do you think we see you two at the start? Are you at the palace with that lava stone out front, or are you in a seedy bar in the city, or are you somewhere else, maybe perched on a roof observing things? Pin, let me ask you that question, then we'll kind of frame out the scene here.
Yeah, I think something closer to the CD bar would be the
This is a seedy bar. There are people who live in the city who obviously work here and do things, production workers and stuff, and a few miners and things. And it's one of those big places that has a little bit of the chill. You get seated in the warmer section or the colder section, depending on your status. And the two of you looking at, are the two of you incognito, kind of like not obviously who you are, hiding your house symbols? What do you think, Zoppy?
Let's I will defer to Pintel on that one because I have a
Sure.
very different idea. So I'll let Pintel take a lead on this.
I think it could almost we're intentionally sloppily trying to cover up who we are.
Okay.
But we actually want them to know.
So let's actually, for you, we're going to kind of do it a little bit backwards. I think let's start for both of you with a couple of obtain information questions so that you have some information to work from, and then we'll come to the two of you talking about what you want to do next. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
So you've been talking to people, casing things, trying to pick up things, a pin that again feels like either understand or communication. I suspect communication because that's kind of your strength there. Have you just been listening in, or do you think you've been going and talking to people?
Yeah, no, I think I'm more. I'm hoping to get someone to approach me.
Okay.
Because if I figure out someone's a criminal and I just go approaching them, like that's not going to make them happy that I identified, So I'm just putting out the thought that I'm someone who they might want to approach. Make them think it's their idea.
So unobtrusive probably doesn't apply there, but you do have a 7 in communication. What's the drive you want to roll with?
Oh, what is the drive here? I think this is duty because this is specifically the assignment we were given.
So that is a 13 or less. So let's have you roll with 2d20. So that is 3 successes. So you're going to have 2 momentum. What is the first thing you want to learn here? And we'll assume this is kind of the montage of the last couple of days of work that you've been doing.
I mean,
are you looking for are you trying to find a person who's a fixer who maybe is your
I
in?
just who's generally trusted. I don't want to go butting up to someone and it turns out that they're kind of a pariah among their fellows. I want someone who's trusted among the element.
Absolutely. You will find the person that you have a conversation with that over the course of this, you realize that this person, her name is Kamasa, and she's one of those people who has like friends in lots of different criminal organizations, who kind of acts as a mediator, as a fixer, finds people work, that kind of thing. And she feels to you like that's somebody that we want to cultivate or we want to work with. Now you've got 2 momentum. You could spend those to obtain information, or you could essentially maybe try to swing her over to your side a little bit.
What would that mean?
So you could spend that 2 momentum to give her a trait, essentially friendly, like, or interested in us, and that would lower the difficulties of any kind of interactions with her follow-up for this.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. What do you want to call that trait?
what is it? She's, I think she is aware that I'm in service of the new something. I mean, to some extent, this is her greed overpowering her caution, right? I'm too tempting of an opportunity for her to resist.
Let's say intrigued. Like she's
intrigued.
Interested. Like I think that she's very curious about the opportunities here. So Zoppy, you also with the montage asking around, getting information, and we can use, if you want to use Kamasa, we can assume that trait will lower your difficulty. So what is your process? Is it more talking to people, or is it more watching? You've got a pretty good charm there. I mean, you've got a 6 on your communicate. So, but are you playing more stoic?
I think that Zappy angle is so she's not wearing her armor. She slightly changed her mohawk into be like falling more to one side. She cannot hide she's a Fremen, but at least who knows how many Fremen are in the service of House Darkos. Hopefully she's not the swordsman. So she's like pretending to be. I think the spy master put her into like the spaceport, and I think she's like trying to like befriend people who Pintel identify that work for or work with Kamaso, so that when we do approach her, it will be easier, or that maybe when it I might be easier to approach for them than Pintel. So
know who people are, get their names, have built a relationship.
Yes, of course. The spy master have arranged for certain agents to do a sloppy job of delivering me some stuff to smuggle to the spaceport.
Right. Yeah.
But sloppy enough that it's not suspicious. Sloppy just enough for them to notice that, hey, this person might be working not only official business.
Okay. What we'll do as a separate role later, if we want, we'll have you create an asset. Will there be a role for that to kind of create a, illegal goods or shady goods or something? But so communicate 6, charm is appropriate. What is the drive that you're using?
I'm looking at the descriptions right now.
Oh, and everybody, if you spent your determination last time, make sure to reset it back to 1.
I think I'm going to go with duty, because this is what the Duke ordered me.
So that's a 14/6. 6s or less give you 2 successes.
Just 1.
Just 1 success. The difficulty, though, because of invoking Kamaso, is a 0. So you're going to get a question, and then you are going to have a point of momentum. So what is it you want to learn in the course of this?
I want to learn if they are actually smuggling. I'm looking for the name of this. I want to learn if they are actually smuggling, or like trying to smuggle Tetrakite off world, because our suspicion was that there are some illegal mines, so that would be one of the vectors that they might smuggle it out.
Yeah, you will definitely get the sense that there are clearly some sites that are operating still out there off the books, and that there are people that are moving the Tetrakite and some other stuff off planet, and that some of it comes through here because there are people who handle the reselling and things like that. And so they get a portion of it. But your sense is also that these smugglers might have, at least one of them might have their own ship that they're quietly, loading and moving it off planet. But yeah, definitely that is it here, and they are doing that. So you have one more momentum. You could spend on another question, or you could put it in the pool.
I think I wanted to put it into the pool, but the opportunity is too good to pass it on. I want to learn the ship's location. Is it hidden here somewhere in the vast snow and ice, or is it actually somewhere? Because I'm not very well familiar in Dune, how does the orbital transport works, orbit to planet. So is their ship hidden here, or is it like docked somewhere to the spaceport and is that just like used as a vector of smuggling, and it's one of those ships?
One of the things is in Dune, they don't really have very good satellite coverage. They have some weather control satellites, and sometimes they have scans, but those are run by the guild, so they're very expensive. So what you'll pick up basically is that up clearly in one of the northern regions, fairly far off from here, there may be more of these smuggler points, but the one that definitely has a ship is up there north. People kind of like hint at it, and you get a sense of the region that it occupies, and that they're dangerous to work with, but they have this ship. If you need other things, like weapons or whatever, you can get it via them. They can do that. And that what classically happens with the smugglers is they drop in, do the cargo switch, they go up, they meet up with somebody that they hand it off to, and then those people go out of system on a guild ship, kind of thing.
Okay.
So you've got it like narrowed down to like what the region is where these people are operating. Does that seem fair?
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So let's come back to you two. You've had a chance the last couple of days. We've got the montage of you two together, and let's do that moment of after you found some things up, Zappi and Pin in this bar talking to one another.
So do you think we should try to locate their ship and go hard on them, grab them by the throats, or do we want to politely massage this contact with Kamasu to tell her that we are the new boss?
If we go too hard too fast, we're gonna bounce off the surface. If we want to get to the root of the problem, we're gonna have to let them draw us in a bit closer. Don't you think?
Very well, Peter. I definitely see why you are Lamp favorite, and yeah. Please forgive me. I'm just too forward, too aggressive with this. Yes, let's. So, do we go and talk to her, or do we still wait for them to approach us?
I mean, I think we let her know we've got, access to things and need help moving it, and then see where that goes.
Perfect. Let's ask the bartender to set us up a meeting. I'm sure the bartender here is super well connected.
Yeah. I think if you pass the message on. I think the scene will after a bit you'll see Camaso, see her come in, look around, comes back to the slightly less well lit section of the place and sits down and kind of does that gesture of let's talk. And I think that's where we're cut there, and we'll come back to you talking to Camaso. Christades, let's come back. What is it that the two of you are telling these stewards? They've come here, you've summoned them for this meeting. They're standing around, you've taken them away from their work. They don't know what's going on. They're very uncertain. What is the message that you are giving to them?
So I feel like out of character, I think the two of us would have had this.
Mike,
Oh.
your mic is up, so you're a little
Yeah.
quieter. You're on your headset.
Hello.
There you go.
Thank you. I feel like the two of us would have figured out what our message was ahead of time.
Okay. So let's have the two of you talk,
Yeah.
to figure out.
Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking. I think, like, does your character speak more often for our house on such affairs? Because I know my character can speak about, in terms of like the practical matters of what might be going on here. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think like both. I think I definitely usually speak like about like the house relation to the people, but we like here we are also dealing with like their business and like their livelihoods and stuff that a mentate would like expertise might be appreciated. So I think either way works.
Okay. So I think we'll probably like speak in turn. So I feel like there's some sort of formal statement issued recognizing the value of the work that's been done. And to prevent this from going into like sort of corporate speak, I think Christidas will say, and we want to evaluate each and every one of you and see how we can work with you and what's been done and how we can help it make some improvements. So we're going to be setting up some interviews for all of you. These will not take...
Eyes will narrow at that point.
Yeah. Because we want to get to know you better. And we want to understand the work that you're doing here and how we can make it better for everyone.
I think this is a communicate test. I want to see how this goes over. I think you've got difficulty to kind of put them a little more at ease. What do you think your drive is for this?
I think my drive is going to be truth.
Okay.
Because he actually does mean this.
Hey, quick question.
Sure.
Is there like a help?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll have you roll an assist roll. You can, if you're participating, you'll get to roll a single d20 using the same pair that Christades chooses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, and he is using this to see like who, like to study the audience and to see like who's an obvious not a good fit, but also to see who might be determined enough to make it work.
So this is communicate, and certainly if you get some extra successes, you can ask a question. But right now we're trying to kind of build up a rapport. What drive? Truth. Okay. Yep. So you're going to be rolling 12. With a 13 or so that'll be a 13 or less, right?
6,
8 and 5.
Yeah, 13. Yep.
Sister Samaya, you will roll with your truth and communicate. You'll roll 1d20. Christades, you roll 2d20.
So I got no successes.
Okay.
Let me see here if there's anything I wanted.
Yeah, I got a success.
Got a
so
success.
What does that mean?
So the Crusaders has to get at least one success for your help to
Right.
count. Do you want to spend your determination?
Yeah, my determination, definitely.
What does the determination do? I think I missed it.
So determination, you get 1 point each time. You can either use it to re-roll after you roll. You can use it to before you roll, you spend it, and you get an extra die that is set at once. You get 2 successes. Or you can also spend it to like immediately create an asset or set a trait on
Oh,
a
okay, okay.
scene.
So it's kind of like fate point. I think I just got it confused with momentum.
Yeah, no, it's much more powerful, but it's much rarer.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 1 success with the new roll.
Okay. So we got 2 successes. So I think that the you kind of put them a little more at ease, but I do think that you know, there is the question that comes from Afama, from the Vanister representative. They say, are you, we need to know, are you continuing with the mining? Are you changing the contracts? Everyone here, and he'll gesture, wants to know that.
Our plans are to continue mining so long as it's safe.
And the contracts?
Unless we find reason to change or terminate them, our plans are to continue them.
There's some grumbling about the non-committal of that as you go along, but with those 2 successes, nobody rouses the group to rioting or objects to the interviews, and they will.
I think I am definitely there to like I am aiding. Like if you have any concern, you can like come talk to me.
Certainly they're kind of watching, trying to figure out what's going on. So Sister Samaya, when you do these interviews, what's your goal? Are you trying to find out more information, or are you trying to put them at ease, or are you trying to establish like an asset, like one of these people, definitely on your side? What do you think you want to do?
Yeah, I think given what we know, like what we see, I'm definitely mostly trying to put them at ease and like increase their faith in Daracos first.
Absolutely. So that feels like communicate. And what drive? Does it feel like duty, faith? What do you think? I can't hear you, so I don't know if you cut out or something.
No, I'm just reading the.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's duty because like I'm trying to do this for the house and like for the people. So.
Okay. Absolutely. Now,
yeah, I got 1 success.
1 success. Are you assisting on this, Christades? You are muted.
I'd be happy to. So roll 1d20.
Yeah.
Okay. I succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I think
that's 2.
Yeah. So 2 successes. I think that you can create a trait of on them as you kind of talk to them, as you're working through them, that they are, let's say, willing to wait. Like they're willing to listen, they're willing to wait. They have the sense from talking to both of you that something's going to happen, that that things seem positive, that you're not here to cut anybody's legs out from under them, or anything. Does that seem like a fair way to put that, sister?
Yeah. Where do we put these traits?
So I've been writing them down, but you could also put them on the house sheet there in that column E, I think would be a good place to put
Yeah,
them.
because I think if we don't write them down, we will we the players might forget it.
Yeah. So yeah, so you spent some time this day taking these interviews, talking with people one-on-one, getting the measure of them, and basically kind of doing a little bit of the same thing over and over again of, how many people do you have, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. How big a concern is the ear? There's a hearing thing, blah, 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 all of that, and put them at ease. Seem fair?
Yeah.
Let me cut back to Zappi and Pinto. And Camaso's there. She sits down. She says, I'm so glad to hear from you. After our conversations, I was very excited about the opportunities that you hinted at. So let me ask you, what can Camaso do for you?
Well, it's what we can do for each other.
I like that. I like that. I like where this is going.
I mean, the change in leadership has to have been, pretty disruptive to things.
People had a way of doing things that they were very comfortable with, and just makes them a little nervous when things change rapidly.
We just want to make sure things keep flowing smoothly. We've maybe have some things we need to some help getting them to flow.
So let's speak in those clearest of terms of things here. What is it you want? Do you want me to move some goods for you, or do you want me to arrange a meeting with somebody of importance, or what do you think? Kind of turns to you, Zappy. What do you think?
I think Zappy says as a I think as a show of good in the spirit of good cooperation, we would love to know about some passengers that might have been coming down on a certain ship and then vanishing into the crowd. We would love to know their whereabouts and something more about them.
Oh, I thought we were talking trade, and here now you're asking for info. Oh, you're breaking my heart here, Zappy. I was really hoping we could do a deal, but you want me to rat some people out?
Zappy looks and I'm information. My friend here is trade.
Who is it?
We need to know who we can set up something that's going to last. We're not looking to hire someone for a one-off deal. We need someone we can work with long term, or it's not worth it. The risks we're taking.
Is that what you're doing, or are you asking me to put somebody's head in the hangman's noose? I just want to be sure. Because there's some people I'd put their head in the hangman's noose. Everybody's got those people. and I'm glad to sell them down the ice river. But I just, but I don't want to know what's happening.
I mean, there'll definitely need to be sacrifices made. On our end, if we're going to keep ourselves in a position of trust, showing that we can deliver those kind of things would be helpful as well.
So I've got let's work this 2-stage. Pin, I heard trade. You've got some stuff for me? Potentially? Okay.
There's some ready now, and there'll be more where that came from.
Okay. So who is it that you would like me to drop a cred on to tell you about Zombie? If assuming that this trade is good, just give me a sense of who it is you want to know about.
I think Zappi doesn't say it out loud, but definitely she has like a. I wonder if assassins of House Ovestre were some kind of like a ring, something to be recognized from. Do they have like a pin in their uniforms? I basically want something with the house emblem, maybe like a pin from the like more official uniforms, because probably assassins don't wear anything.
Yeah. So let's say that House Ovestre has a serpent on their coat of arms, of a particular kind, and you kind of allude to that, and she's like, "Oh."
I think Zappi does it like in a funny way, because she probably has like a drawn on a piece of paper and she says, "Oh, this is how they look like." I'm sorry, I'm a very bad drawer, and just like I show her the actual snake, not like the drawing of a person.
Oh, you're asking me some dangerous shit.
You know what they say, friend, a friend.
Let's consider here. I might know how they got on planet and who their link up is. Like, I can point you in that direction.
That's perfectly enough.
But what I want exchange is not goods, Pin. I want an arrangement such that a small bit of cargo is set aside on official ships for a bit. Small bit. Because I want to make sure that I have my channels to move things on. Does that seem like a thing we could talk about?
I'm a little confused as what the difference
So
is between.
I don't need goods from you. I have some goods, but I need to move them. So what I would like to have arranged is we have an agreement that you're using your transports that you can get a hold of, your family transports, they can take just a little bit of extra cargo to go to the places that I want. Nothing dangerous, no poisons, no bombs, no weapons, anything like that. Does that seem like something that we can work out?
Yeah.
There it is. That's what yes, that's what I like to hear. Very good. All right. And you see her pause and think, and I think that's what we're going to cut for our break here. and to have her come back and kind of tell you what the deal is. So let's take our first break here. Take 10, and we will come back.
Sure.
So I saw in the chat the sense that Samaya, Christades, you're also are you doing kind of an aptitude test for the various stewards? Okay.
Yeah, I think kind of like a montage of that.
Yeah, and we can assume that that's essentially a simple asset that you have in the background of info on them, that kind of thing. But I guess the question then that you suggested there is, how do the two of you want to handle Athama?
So I think Afama involves a private conversation. To just kind of like read him and see how we want to deal with him. Because I'm seeing on our house tab, House Ovestre was accused of corruption and gaining non-tax profits from hidden mines.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there's something that we could, because I don't want this to be just a bunch of information rolls, but basically a scene where we're setting up like, we want to help your presence here as a member of House Ovestre, but also kind of seeing if his ego is bigger than his house to be successful here. We know that there have been some charges brought against your house, but we also know that you've been working with a fair number of contract workers, and we want to see what we can do going forward, i.e., what terms are you interested in making this easier for everyone?
So it feels to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that the two of you are playing, good mentat, bad sister, or vice versa. And you're trying to flip him. Like, you're trying to flip his loyalty over to your house. Does that seem fair?
I think given that we only have 2 sessions left, I'm going to go there.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay, Mona?
Yeah. I think you will like play the one who wants to flip him, and I will play the one who wants to axe him.
Yeah. Yep. I've got the damning information under one hand and the promise for good cooperation on the other.
Let me ask you this, Sister Samaya. Are you using the voice on him, or is that a little too overt, a little too over the top?
I think I'm not using it yet, but I'm keeping that under consideration.
Okay. So it does feel like you will have Christades kind of lead and Samaya assisting. So then I think this is probably, let me see here. Yeah, I think that's communicate. And what do you think? Is this power? Is this duty?
Oh man. I think how Christades is phrasing this is in the sense of power and saying, hopefully he can pick up on this. You need to choose what's best for you if you want to continue working here. So I think power.
Okay. So communicate plus power, that's going to be 12 for you. That's going to be 8 for you, Samaya. So Samaya, you roll a d20. Christades, you roll 2 d20.
Yeah, I don't get a success, so see.
Okay.
No success.
So I think that, you're talking to him and you have the sense, and I think this is what you'll get out of this conversation, is you work him hard. You're trying to flip him. And I think it eventually becomes clear to you that the Vannisters have something on him.
Okay.
Like they've got leverage and he's not willing to do that. And I think that sort of towards the end of that, he will say, I appreciate you two senior members of the House taking the time to speak with me in this way. And believe me, I would love to be able to help you in the ways, and I will help you. I will help you, absolutely. You know, I serve the House. That is my task. That is my duty. I serve the House. But you made suggestions about further service, perhaps outside of my normal aspects. I think that would be something that I would have to speak with my wife and daughters, who serve as handmaids to the ladies of House Vanister and live there in the House Vanister courts. So you understand, I would have to talk it over to them because they are very valuable to me for their advice. And I would hate for any harm to come to me, because they would be angry at me for having done this without consultation. You understand?
Of course. I totally understand that the offer remains open, and we will review your results from the interview and look forward to working with you and the contractors and the value that you bring. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. So Christie's kind of led that particular thing. He leaves a little nervous and worried about what's going to happen. So I think you've calmed the uncertainty amongst most people, but not him. Sister Samaya, I want to give you a chance if there's something else you want to do before I flip back to Zappi and Pin.
Yeah. What about the other leader we picked out, like the older, wiser, but less supported one?
Okay.
Like how do they act during the interview and such?
They are, let's say, non-committal. They're that everything they say is very neutral. They don't want to commit to anything. That, you know, you've convinced them that they should be willing to wait and so on, but you have the sense that he's very protective of his people, and he's very wary of the powers that be, of the people in charge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to talk to him? Do you want to try and read him?
Not right now, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So you definitely get that sense. He is, and we'll call him Zirtha. And he's always polite. He's always in that way that, you know, that politeness is covering a little bit of anger. But he keeps it tamped down, and listen to what you have to say. So I'm going to cut back then to Zappi and Pin, and Tommaso says, so may I speak frankly to you two?
I think if we're going to be working together, we'll have to.
So let us say that I knew where these serpents had come in and who would be associated with them. One of the reasons that I perhaps hesitate, and why I wanted your agreement on that, is that these are people that have in the past been willing to move my goods off planet because they have those resources, because they have a ship. That's a rarity amongst the smugglers. However, they have of late, of recent times, been, how should I say this, cheap, a little tight-fisted with working with me. They've taken advantage of the chaos to strike deals, perhaps not as much in my favor as I would like. So I can give you a transponder code which is used to locate them. It will help you narrow things down if you know the region and find their operations. And I can tell you, while the Ovestre may not be there right now, I do know that some of their people are there. Not the Ovestre people, but these smuggler people are there. And that right now, their ship is off planet. So might want to strike while the iron is hot, let's say. Does that feel like I'm being a good person?
I think that you're a loyal subject acting in the interest of a peaceful, what's the name of this planet?
The planet's name, I now have to check the house sheet. Nabur.
Yes, a peaceful Nabur.
Zappy, does that feel like we can work together on this?
Of course. It seems you are willing to be a good friend of House Ovestre, which I really appreciate.
And she will pull out of her bag a little comms palette that she will slide over to you, and she will say, you can use this to help narrow the search and locate where they're at. And likely from them, you can find out perhaps when they brought people in from this serpent house, where they might be.
Yes, I suspect they'd much prefer to be charged with smuggling than conspiracy to assassinate.
It would be a shame if they were to meet an untimely end. I would be so sorry if that were to happen. I would break my heart. Just saying. All right, well then, I think we have an understanding.
Yes.
Excellent. And she will rise, and she'll wave over to the bartender as if to say, your drinks are covered by her.
Mm-hmm.
And she will head out. Let me go back to the Crustaceans and Sister Samaya. Maybe we can finish out that scene there at the miners' camp. Is there anything else that you two want to do here before you depart, Samaya?
Yeah, I think because like David said in chat that I think that's a good phrase. Like I think Chris Teddy said I hate hostage taking, it's a sign of cowardice. And I say, well perhaps we now have a pressing need to get a few specific handmaids from House Ovestre.
You know,
Absolutely. So yeah, you can and I think you probably got names. So is there anything else you two want to do before you head back?
yeah, I think Crusadus has his engineer person help him set up, and we don't have to go through this right now, but set up the testing to try to, and working with the locals to see if we can get started on an alternate audio profile that's less harmful to the workers.
So we'll assume we kind of montage the two of you heading back. This is a long-term project you're working on. If we use the Forged in the Dark terminology here. So what do you want to roll that with?
Let's take a look here.
Is this more discipline to kind of force yourself through, or
yeah, I like the idea because I have the focus of attention to detail. So it makes me like this is like the scientific mind coming to bear on this project, while keeping in mind like biology. So this is where in the chat I was discussing if the sisters of the Bene Gesserit study physics and they use the voice. There's sort of like
Yeah, I
an
have
audio thing going
because
on.
I'm not familiar with the setting. I actually don't know like how much of their training is like practical, like intuitive, and how much do they actually study whatever science that goes on in like their technique or abilities.
So I think that the physical stuff, there's definitely some like things there, but I think in terms of the voice, I think that is more like how does it like kind of hypnotism and techniques, using that rather than a physics based thing.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let's go with discipline for the skill, attention to detail for focus, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And then think I feel faith. Like I think he wants to command trust, respect, faith in the people.
Okay. So that will be a 13 with 7 or less as 2 successes.
Okay, let's give it a go. I got 1 success.
1 success.
At 9, so not.
Yeah. So what that is you did succeed on the project. So, and that's difficulty 1 for doing it. So you match that. So the effect is that you would put 2 ticks on the clock, and we'll do like a 6-segment clock to kind of figure something out. And if you had an asset that was of superior quality, you could have, its result could add in, or if you rolled extra momentum, you could have spent up to 2 momentum to give additional ticks on the clock, kind of thing, just to tell you how that works.
Okay. So if I had my engineering asset involved.
Well, right now, that's your base engineering asset is a quality 0.
Okay.
That's one of the things that you can build up over time. It's actually the cheaper things to build up with the experience in this system, but we have not really touching on that.
Cool.
So Samara, is there a long-term project that you are working on? You'd mentioned figuring out about the faith, or modifying the faith, or establishing some more practices here, or something like that. What do you think you want to be doing, sort of in the background as your kind of background project?
I think. Yeah, I think maybe I'm on some kind of vision quest. So like I think I am like I spend some time in like the coldest, like most inhospitable place in like on the planet, because like it's very different. Like it's kind of like what they do like on Arrakis, like except that's a desert, and this is like I'm trying to find like some kind of enlightenment in this extreme environment.
Yeah, I like that. So uh that feels like discipline. Like that's you're trying to survive in this environment, trying to make it through so that you can have this vision. What do you think? Is that faith for that then?
Yeah, I think it's faith.
Okay. And let's have resolve work for that.
Yeah.
So that'll be a 15/7. So roll 2d20.
I got a normal success.
Yeah. So what is it we see on screen of this, of you doing this?
Yeah, I think it's a lot like I think it's a lot of like a like plagiarization of like the tattooing scene where like we see like Samaya like going out in like pretty like it's pretty thin clothes, like because like she has the conditioning, and like she is using that to like withstand the weather instead of relying on clothes. And we see like she takes some kind of mount, like if there's some kind of natural animal, or and if not, maybe some kind of bike, like a simple like mount, and she just like wander in the wilderness until she find maybe a cave, and then she just sat there meditating.
Absolutely. And I think we see you like clearly this becomes part of your daily or weekly practice of going to this place and getting used to it and learning how to use your Prada Bindu talents and conditioning to resist the cold here. And so you're making progress on that. And I put that as 2 ticks on a 6-tick clock for that. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Uh, we're going to bring everybody back together here in a second, but I do want to now ask Zappy and Pin, like, what in the background is your long-term thing that you would be working on? Let's start with Zappy.
We haven't spoken about what was the environment of our previous home planet, but I would assume it was not so hostile as this one. So our house is like not very well suited. We lack some skills, some snow survival and equipment. So I think Zappy project is to speak with people and learn their techniques of surviving, and then prepare some like emergency kits for our ornithopters, train our troops in the like sort of survival tactics, because who knows, maybe we'll have to like, we are not like heavy army
Right.
house, but we need to be adaptable, and that's what she feel comfortable. And it's like interesting to her because desert is in some because surviving on desert is somehow it's different, but it's also a harsh condition.
Yeah.
So she knows that this is important, and because otherwise accidents will be very very dangerous.
When you're out on the snow plain, walking there, though the ground is different under your feet, the look of it is, I mean, it is that white, featureless void. But it is like the desert in that. And so, yeah, you were given some manuals and some ideas and some talk about how to manage things, but now you're actually on the ground and you're talking to people and trying to build and develop the house's skills with that. So what do you want to roll for that project? What does that feel like? Is that understanding or communication?
I think it's actually understanding.
Okay.
Because yes, I think it's more of an understanding in this part. I'm looking which one was, because I wanted to do it. I think it was faith.
Yeah. So understanding and
faith, I think.
okay. So that is 11 or less.
Yes, let's roll the dice.
Look at that.
Boom. Two
So
successes.
two successes. So you can get, if you spend the momentum that you get from that, you get 3 ticks on your clock.
Normally I would get 2 ticks, yes?
Yes.
I think I should build a momentum pool because nobody is using it for
Right.
like half a session. So
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going to, so the project might be going slow, but I'm going to build out our momentum pool.
That seems good. And then Pin, what is your project? Is it more transport oriented? Is it more espionage oriented? What do you think that is? You building up a network of contacts? You working on getting the ships ready? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I need to set up this smuggling network that is somehow going to actually operate. The people who need to be in the know that it's, working to uncover, the ringleaders of the smugglers.
Yeah, you're setting up an undercover operation.
But that can't be, most of the people involved can't know that. So yeah, that seems like a pretty delicate operation.
So that feels like communication where your unobtrusive actually will apply.
Yeah.
What do you think your drive is for that?
Well, it could be any of these, really. I'm gonna say truth, because this really is about getting into the deep secrets of what's going on this planet.
Sure. So that's going to be 7 and 8, so 15/7. Roll me 2d20. So that is 2 successes. So you can either put 2 ticks on the clock and throw that momentum in the pool, or put 3 ticks on the clock.
We can. How large is the clock?
6-tick clock.
It cut out there. What was it?
Oh, sorry, 6.
6. Let's put 3 ticks on there.
Okay.
So
you make pretty good.
Chance we'll fill it.
Pretty good progress. Like, what is the montage on screen that we see Pin doing?
Yeah, I think it's just you see like the different characters he has to shift between. So it's like, okay, these are the people where it's like, this is official cargo. You don't question it, don't look into it. So these are the people who are being just kept in the dark. And then these are the people who are like, this is pretending to be contraband, but it's not really. You're, the people who are in the inner circle. And then, the people who,
That seems fair.
Here's a little cash. Just look the other way, So it's just like him shifting between these like completely different characters of.
That sounds perfect, and you've got made some progress on that. So I'd like to kind of hard frame, cut, and bring the 4 of you back together again, meeting to discuss, and we'll assume that both groups have past information. So Crusaders, Samaya, about the base, and the locator and that kind of thing, and Zapi Pintel, you know about their interactions with Afama and the other guy and what's gone on and the whole thing with the ears and all of that stuff. So let's kind of start out with that. So last time I put Christades on the spot here for when we came into one of these meetings. So this time I'm going to put Zappy on the spot. Like when we come in, when the camera arrives on scene, as all of you are sitting around again, tea and whatever foodstuffs are put out in front of you. What is it that you are saying, Zappy? What is she saying to the group?
This is the plan. We'll fly toward the north. Hopefully, to Pintel can locate. Pintel can like fly it with a single ornithopter to avoid the detection. We will only the sister Samaya, if you would be so kind to accompany on this like stealth infiltration of the smuggler base. I hope that we will get them mostly by surprise to prevent them from raising alarm or whatever security devices they might have to alert the ship. And once we subdued everyone, we can question them, learn from them where to look for the Ovestre operatives, and hopefully set a trap for when the ship will be back. Ideas, opinions about this simple plan?
So, question: have we conducted missions like this? This is out of character. Have we conducted missions like this before, or is this a new thing?
I would assume that you have done some work on that. Your battle is not baseline; it is a 5. So you have done certainly some combat training, and may have done some stuff for the house. Certainly, Sister Samaya is well experienced, well versed. This is actually very much Sister Samaya's like skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Pin's more of an infiltrator, but Pin's also the best pilot around to get there without being spotted or anything.
So I don't remember hearing if Zappy mentioned Christades going on this or not.
Hard frame for the players. Yeah, but yeah, how are you presenting that?
Yes, she didn't. But the option is there for you to join.
Okay, I think Christades is asked for like the details to analyze, and we'll go over them and then say I think that there is an opportunity here to improve upon what you have shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are some vulnerabilities and points them out. But I am not the expert in this field. I'm just offering my professional opinion.
Yeah. Of course, if you have some better plan about dealing with the smuggler base and learning the Ovestre operatives.
I'm wondering, well, is there a way to are there devices to hack into communications?
Not really. That because communications are very scant in these things. Like you have communications 1-on-1, but most people are working by hand signals or projectors or things like that. It's very basic.
Yeah, so it's worse than in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
and every house has their own tongue to make it like even more difficult to understand them.
Yes, potentially. Yeah.
And there's no universal translator.
If only we had computers.
If only we had a protocol droid.
You're our computer. You're our walking computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Christades, do you how do you push yourself onto this mission? How do you present that?
I think given what I've established for Christades being young and bold and kind of has a fanboy thing going on with Zappy, I think is going to say, well, I believe that I can assist you in, let's see, do they have a security system? Is that something we can establish in the
You
fiction?
don't know. You don't know anything about
Yeah.
this place.
To assist if there are any unforeseen technical challenges.
I mean, of course, I thought you wouldn't be interested, but if you want, hop in. There are definitely places on the ornithopter. So,
And like hides behind a data pad so you don't see him blushing.
All right. So it feels like we've got a mission. It feels like we know what the next task is, and that is flying in. And then I'm going to set something up, a little bit of hard frame, but I'm going to spend threat to pay it off. And I'm going to give an opportunity, another opportunity for Pintel because of one of his talents. But let's start with the piloting. Your goal is to fly this as close as you can. Zappy has the tracker. Zappy's identified the region. You want to fly as close as you can and put it down without being spotted.
And Pin, if you want any help in like looking at details or anything, Chris is more than happy to assist.
So this feels like move for, with your ornithopter pilot. And what drive is this?
I think duty again, because
Okay.
this is, yeah, he's on the job.
So 13/7, and Christades, if you want to do a help die roll, you can roll those as well. So 1d20 for you. But let's get your roll pinned. So that's 2 successes. 3 successes. So we see that ornithopter going in low, coming over where the buzz and the hover of it is kicking up the snow in the air. It's kind of catching. There's that like crystalline look as it drifts down, and kind of Christades, you're watching the whatever they have in terms of scanners to keep track. And
could I make a suggestion that we're using kind of like the weather patterns, like maybe there's some cloud or wind or something that's we're kind of riding in with?
Yeah, a little bit of a blizzard or a wind shear coming down from the side, coming in with that, and then you'll be able to very quietly land the ship. No one spotted you. You've made no noise. Perfectly clear. And then you will get out, winter gear on, and begin moving. And you're moving towards this base. You kind of pick up the smell of the heat from it in the distance. You know, the mining smell. You know what that is. And I think we are seeing you move through a kind of set of ruins here, getting towards it. And Pin, can I have you please roll understand plus appropriate drive using your danger sense?
Seems like truth.
Okay. So 14/6. Okay. So you're going to add 2 momentum to the momentum pool. And you all are going to get go first.
Am I detecting danger or hidden enemies?
Yes, that's why I reduced your difficulty down to 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to share a link with you all. Copy. And paste. And that is a Jamboard.
People use Jamboard? Sweet.
So we're going to take our second break here. We're going to take 5. We're going to come back. We've got some troops and some better people. You have not been ambushed. You're going to get to go first. You've actually kind of caught them out before they can activate their ambush. And I'll talk about who is on the table at that point, where you are, and we'll talk about movement and zones and all of that kind of stuff. The general assumption is that you have whatever weapons you would be able to normally have, knife or mala thrower or whatever. So we'll take 5 and we'll come back. Let me do that. Let me screen share again to show the map to everybody. I'm going to do it just briefly here. So this is a Google Jamboard, just so you can see that we'll be playing with. I'm not going to screen share this the whole time because that makes it like little tiny things over here. It's really irritating for me. But just know that that's what we're talking about, is this map here.
So, Lo, why did you use Jamboard instead of Google Draw?
Because you have a background image that doesn't get pulled and moved around by us. As I discovered and forgotten when I ran a map building game on last Wednesday and had that same thing where it kept. I wish I had known that beforehand. So let me talk about how this is going to play. We do kind of I go, you go initiative. You'll start, and then another person will go from the other side. If you want, after you've taken your action, you can spend 2 momentum to have another a person from your side go, or take a second action, but the difficulty is increased by 1. So that's kind of a I go, you go. This is a game that has a mechanic I dislike, but we're going to play with the mechanic, and that is when you take your action, you can take an action or you can move. So to move to another zone is an action. When you go to move, you can move normally. You just get into that zone, assumed you're wherever you want to be. Or you can try and sneak in there, in which case it costs no momentum for another one of your team to go next. Or you can charge in there, in which case you can actually try and like knock away a weapon or deal with their armor or their cover or something like that, like push an asset. So that's going to be the options that are on the table. And again, we've got 4 troops, 3 people with tracks. You might ask, how far can I move? You can move 1 zone. If you want to move an additional zone, you can spend momentum and go 2 zones. That's the sort of distance. You might ask, hey, what are our hit points, Lowell? Because you haven't mentioned that. Like, how do we track our stress and so on? So your stress right now is always situationally based on what's going on. So if we were in a like diplomacy, like courtly battle, your stress track would be equal to your communicate. We are in a physical battle, so your stress track is equal to your battle. You can spend momentum to keep yourself from being taken out if that happens to happen, but it costs 2 momentum, and you can only do that once per combat. So let us begin. You have gotten the jump on them a bit between the initial roll of the ship landing and the spotting roll. So we're going to do a round where all of you get to go, and then we're going to go around where both you and them are going to go. So this is sort of the surprise round for you. So let's start with our 2 fighters. So let's start with Zoppy.
a question about shields because they seem to be kind of semi-important. So first question, I don't have shield as my super uber asset. So I assume I have some standard shield. Does it actually do anything for me? Do I have to like spend action to turn it on? Or
If
just
you-
shield quality 0 is like worthless?
Shields are kind of expensive. So if you haven't taken it as an asset, and you feel free to swap this around right now. If you haven't taken it as an asset, it's going to be just kind of in play as color fiction rather than a tool that you have.
Okay, in that case, well, I'm going to dump my cloak because
Okay. So what the shield does is it increases, you turn it on, and it increases the difficulty of someone shooting you at range. And it also reduces the damage by 1 step when you're up in melee. That's the base effect for those. That's the asset, what it will do. So what do you want to do?
yeah, I think Zappy is going to grab her Maula pistol,
Okay.
and I assume that I can shoot to a different zone from where I am, or do I have to be in
Absolutely.
that zone?
So adjacent zones are, you can hit anything in those, shoot those. If it's 2 zones away, it's going to be an increased difficulty of 1.
Yeah, I think let's shoot the single person on the bottom.
Okay.
I assume that. So yeah, Zappy takes out this like spring-loaded pistol, loads like a poison sleeping dart in there, and takes aim and fires.
Okay. I'm going to roll for.
And of course, I like hit my chest, and we see this like blue.
Okay. So difficulty is a 2 to hit them.
Okay. Well, they might be conspiring against us. They are housing Ovestre. I think it's a duty to take them out and question them.
So battle and duty. So
Do they have like a shield of their own?
no, those are expensive. They don't have those.
When they make a attack during a duel or a skirmish, a middle weapon. Okay, so I'm not using the slow blade. Yeah. Well, difficulty 2. I'm going to grab 1 point from momentum.
Okay. 3d20, rolling with that. You need 15 or less on any of those dice.
Nope, and there's a complication.
Do you have a point of determination?
I do. I'm just not sure if I want to spend it so quickly.
Sure. So you will fire that off, and that pistol will go off.
Well, let's spend it because let's keep the momentum of the bite of the battle going. I have a free one from a steel focus, so let's spend that one. That means 3 successes.
But you also get that additional D20 that you bought. You get to re-roll that.
Yeah, because I had like 1 success on a.
Oh yeah, you had 1 success. So that's 3 successes.
Yes.
So you will hit them. Base damage is 2 for the effect, and then you've got the Mauser as your Mala as your thing. So that does an additional point. So they're going to take 3 points. You can put that momentum back in the pool, or you can do an additional point of damage to them.
Man, this system is like super momentum heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how we are to generate more if everything is so expensive here. Okay. Yeah, let's hopefully take out this combatant.
Okay.
So, yeah,
so I think that
maximum
hit,
damage.
Yeah.
Maximum
So
damage.
4 points of damage, like that hits them in the chest, and they'll kind of stagger back. They're still up, but like they are rethinking their life choices. right now as that hits into their system, and they're kind of stepping back to find their footing. Now, you all are going to get to go once, and then we'll go to the regular initiative. So, Sister Samaya, so we have you go.
Is there like an action like defending or something like that?
To go defensive, they don't really have that as an action you can declare, but certainly you can hold position. You could, for example, if you wanted to get behind cover, you could do that.
Yeah, no, because I think like because for my role and like I would be trying to protect like less like combat able member like facilities or
Okay, so you're gonna move in the way. Do you want to try to block? Do you want to kind of push him back into cover? Is that what you want to do?
yeah. I just like trying to like do a more defense because like my archetype is protector and so I feel like I should be like a
So basically, you move, set yourself up so that you're the target rather than
yeah
Christades. Okay, absolutely.
I think I drew my vibro sword and like I flash it at the smugglers and I say, I beg of you, choose to leave, surrender.
Excellent. Christades, you kind of get pushed back a little bit. What do you want to do?
I think he's trying to like, he feels like that's not a good way to impress Zappy, is by being, protected. So I think Christades, who's doesn't real like his pride is here. He steps like kind of around Sister and takes a shot at this person on the far left in yellow.
So got a Mala pistol. Is that one of your assets or not?
No, it's just
so it's just a regular one.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're rolling with battle.
Yep.
Let's have you.
This is not the smart thing to do, but
Okay.
So let's see.
Difficulty is a 1 for this person.
Yeah, battle. Let's see.
What's
the closest we think might be in drives to say like pride?
That's power.
Okay. So that's gonna be a 12 or less.
12 or less.
All right. Wow, I got 2 successes.
2 successes. So you're going to do 2 points for the hit. As you strike them. Do you want to put the other momentum into damage or put it into the pool?
I think I'm going to put it in the pool because I just don't think my character's really was on good footing to take that shot.
Okay. So you will strike them. And last but not least, Pin.
Yeah, I need to protect Kamaso's friend. I mean, Kamaso's my good friend, so I gotta help a friend of a friend.
You want to try and sneak into that zone?
That's an interesting idea. Is there? How about this? I'm gonna activate my damper, so they can't hear me, so I can hopefully get over there to the hostage without them noticing me.
So that's an asset. So that'll reduce the difficulty by 1. Okay. Difficulty is normally 2 for kind of this sneak move, so it becomes difficulty 1. So why don't you make a move roll with that?
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's still duty.
Still duty. Okay.
Yeah.
So 13s. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
You've got an extra success you can throw into the momentum pool.
Sure.
And essentially you have darted over, silenced yourself, and moved into that zone with them. And you can kind of position yourself where you want in that zone. And they're concentrating on the fire that's coming from Zappi and Christados. So they have not seen you.
Yeah. So I'll be positioned so that me and the hostage are in the damper zone so we can have a conversation
Sure.
without them noticing.
I'm going to grab you. Got your token?
Maybe
Great.
I'm like
Awesome.
hidden in this bush or tree or whatever.
Absolutely. Kind of rush back behind, gone low, come around. There's a little bit of snow in the air. You're using that and the camouflage to go. All right. Now we're on a regular round, which means now we're going to be alternating. So, Zappi, we are going to start with you again on the top of this round, and then we'll talk about spending momentum to have other people go or how we change up. So what do you want to do?
I really want to wait for them to move because it feels like a
Do you want to hand that
to
over
move.
to them?
No, since I do have a pistol, I think we see. I'm not sure should we like cork the Mauler pistol because it's like a spring loaded.
Yeah, I imagine
So,
there's a pullback to load kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think we see Zappi do it, and why not use it to take the person who is in the zone with Pintel, the one with like blue colors, the named characters.
Absolutely. So I'm going to roll for them. So difficulty is a 2.
Yeah, I'm going to take one momentum.
Okay.
And use my duty. And let's hope for the best. Tick. And by the way, what's the difficulty to hit us? I'm just like really curious.
You'll roll when we go to do that. You'll make a move roll. Yeah.
Okay. I got 3 successes.
Okay. So difficulty was 2. So you hit, you do the 3 points for the Mala, and then do you want to save that momentum or do you want to put it for damage on that one?
I feel like damage.
Okay. So all of these named ones have been hit, and the one in white down at the bottom and the one in the zone with Pintel quite badly taken those hits. So
I think if I can say, after firing the second shot, I think Zappi would say, drop your weapons and lay on the floor and you will be spared. Just to give them an option if they wish to surrender and not fight.
Okay. So I am going to have them go, and I think that unless you're paying 2 momentum to go again or have somebody else go, I'm going to take my action. This is the only time I'm going to ask that. Otherwise, I'm going to have you, say, "Oh, I'm going to interrupt."
Yes, take your action.
Yeah. So I think these 2 troops kind of move over to cover, and we'll each take a shot at you, Zappi. So you'll make a move roll. What do you want to roll that move roll for defense with?
I'm trying to think if there is any moral imperative for me to change from doing this with duty. I don't know. Should I change it?
It's up to you. No, it's up to you how you want to play it.
I'm here to deal with the traders by the order of Duke. I'm doing my duty, so.
Okay. Roll 2d20. You've already got a +1 to the difficulty for them to hit you because of the situation here with the shield.
Yes. Do I make like one roll or
so roll 2d20. This is what it's going to be for the round. Is going to be your defense. So right now you're difficulty 3 for them to hit you. Okay.
Yep.
So they will do that thing where we're gonna put, nope, that's a D10.
Instead of them using the last gun, because then we might have a nuclear explosion on our hands.
An atomic explosion that would kill all of you.
If they're
I
using the
don't
last gun.
think they have. Also, las guns are super expensive. So they're going to try and assist. So I'm going to do their roll as a 3d20 versus a 2d20. That's going to take their actions there. So let's see. So they will fire off and they will miss. So these two pop up onto the cover and they fire up that Mala pistol, just comes shooting past you, and you don't get even touched by it, Zappi. Who wants to go next of the players? Christades, let's have you go. You raised your hand.
So Christades, who's been watching Zappi perform, like, just again around the sister, just taking a pot shot at the same target.
Okay, so the one in yellow, I believe it was.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So let me roll for them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So difficulty is a 2.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I think I am going to spend 1 momentum.
Okay.
So I get 3 d20.
Yep.
Okay.
Battle is 5, and power. That's what you used last time.
Yeah.
Okay. So 12s or less, and you're rolling 3d20.
Yep. So let's do 1, 2, 3.
So that's 2 successes. So that's enough. So you'll apply another 2 points to them, and much like the person in white and blue, essentially they've taken 2 hits from these pistols. They've got blood that's, and again, remember that the blood's coming out and it's freezing almost immediately on everyone's uniforms and cracking, and that's what you'll see happen there. I'm going to have that one take the one in blue take a desperate shot at you. Sister Samaya, would you like to interpose yourself to take the hit because you kind of delayed?
Yeah.
Okay, so you may roll a move roll. This will establish your defense for the round.
Okay.
What do you want to roll that move roll with?
Yeah, I think it's face, right? Because I'm protecting someone.
15 or less. 2d20.
I got 1 success.
1 success. So you will have that, and I will roll my attack on you with that person, and they will roll 2d20, and they will hit you for 3 points. So whatever your battle score is, what's your battle?
7.
7. So you've taken 3 points out of the 7 that you have. Where do they hit you?
Yeah, I think I'm blocking some of the shots with my sword, so it's probably on the arms.
Okay. That seems perfectly fair. As you take that shot, get winged in your arm, and that was them. So, Sister Shemaya, do you want to go, or to Pintel, do you want to go?
Well, how do I record this damage?
You could just mark it, because those clocks, those progress charts change from time to time. I just normally, write in like for here you've got a battle 3, so I might write 3/7 onto the focuses just to keep in mind where you're at.
Okay.
So Sister, do you want to go, or Pintel, do you want to go?
Yeah, I think Pintel can go if
So is the hostage like restrained, or
Essentially they are cuffed there, but they're not like lashed to anything. Essentially the threat of, if you try to run away, you're running out into the ice lands, is the threat. Do you want to try and grab them and move them off from there,
yeah? Well,
or do you want to just get them behind cover?
yeah, if I can kind of just, if they're not restrained, they can move themselves into cover, and I can talk to them without us being heard.
Yeah.
So I'll take the chance to just take a shot at one of these.
Okay. So we'll assume you say, "Hey, get behind the wall."
I was like, yeah, so, stay here. They can't hear us.
Do you want to shoot the one in blue, or do you want to shoot the troops?
I'll leave the one in blue to the experts. I'll just try to take out a troop.
All right. So the default for them is a difficulty of 1 to hit them.
Okay, and so battle plus just duty still.
It's up to you.
Yeah, duty's fine.
Okay. So you get 10 or less. So one does
Score of
hit.
success.
So where do you hit this one that you dropped them?
Just right in the back.
Yeah, just they're kind of they've turned, they've been firing at Zappy, and just one shot, and Zappy, you'll see one of these troops drop, and in a line of sight back behind, you can see that Pinto has knocked them out. I think that I've still got those two to go, that to go. So the yellow one is going to move up into the zone and is going to try to so the yellow one comes charging up into the zone, sister, and kind of pushes you back, trying to get like at the mentat who's firing the gun. And it is your action.
Yeah, I think I say, I'm sorry you decided to throw away your life so lightly. And then I cut him with my vibro sword.
Okay. So go ahead and I will roll his defense. Oof, not good. So difficulty 1 to hit him.
So I just need 1 success.
Just need 1 success, yeah.
Okay. I am still going to use face and battle, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. So my battle is still 7. The 3 is just how many hits I can take.
Yeah. Imagine it becomes a temporary stress track for you.
Okay.
Lola, I have a question.
Okay.
Is it possible to help other people in combat, or is it just...
You'd have to spend your action to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I got a 1.
Okay, so you have 1 success. And this is with that vibro sword. So it's one of your assets. So normally you do 2 points. With the vibro sword, it's going to add another 1. So what does it look like when you cut this guy down?
Yeah, so they have like they have a gun, right?
Well, they've run up with a short blade out, essentially trying to push you back.
Yeah, so I think like they bring out that short blade, and then I think, I think like I don't say anything more. I think I just I cut off their arm so like they can't.
Full on Star Wars style.
Yeah.
Arm on the ground, blood is spraying out and freezing in the air as they drop to the ground. So I've got 2 to go still. So this person is going to try and who's in white is going to try and run up and knock that gun away from you, Zombie. And they do not. In fact, they come running up at you and kind of slip on the snow. So they are up in your zone, but they didn't do anything to you. I think we've got, though, your defense is a 3 this round, right? We already rolled that.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to have these other pair of people, since you're the most visible target right now, these troops down here in the lower corner, take a couple shots here. We'll do it as one group. So they will hit you, even with the 3 difficulty. So you're going to take 2 points of stress. Where does that hit you? Does it come across your cheek? Does it hit your shoulder? Catch you in the side? Hit your leg?
I think as I was performing a dodge from the one charging me, we see this like needle from the mono pistol just like stop on the shield and then bury itself through to like hit me in the arm.
Absolutely. So that's the end of that round. We're going to start the next round. I don't have enough threat to take the initiative away, or else I would have one of them go. So we'll start. Who wants to start this round?
Right,
Crusaders?
so Crusaders will go. So Crusaders seeing what just happened, and
Oh yeah, arm slashed off by
yeah,
that pulse blade.
he has a shield. And does blood do anything when it hits the shield? Does it crackle? Does it just fall down off of it?
I think when it sprays on there, that reduces the momentum of it, and it probably hits there and does freeze and then falls off like little icicles.
All right. So you think the realization of what real battle is like is drilling into him. And I think what he does is I think he's going to shoot. Is the one in blue over to the right, upright, still in action?
Yeah, the one in blue, and then the other troop that's there.
Okay. I think he's going to shoot the one in blue.
Okay.
And I'm going to probably change my drive now to duty. So 5 and 5, so 10 or less.
Just difficulty 1 to hit.
Okay. Let's see if this is going to do anything. 1 success.
1 success. So they've popped up to take another shot at you, and you catch them with that needler, and they will kind of grab at that. Blood comes out, and they will drop to the ground. Pull them off of here. Zoppy, this person is going to attempt to shiv you with a blade.
Shiv me with the blade.
Yes.
So do I roll move now, or can I like use my own short blades to defend as a parry?
Absolutely. So now you can use battle with your short blade focus.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to roll flat and hope for the best.
Okay.
So that's 3. I was using duty, so that's 3
Sure.
successes plus shield. That's 4.
4 successes. Well, in Malay, it'll actually take damage off rather than increase
So
the
that's
difficulty.
3.
So 3. Okay, so I'm going to spend my sad last point of threat here. Go to 0, and I'm going to roll with 3d20. So they will miss. Essentially, they come up on you. They bring that blade up. They hit against the shield, pull back, and then your blade is knocking theirs away. Do you want to go next?
Yes, let me use this this fantastic opportunity.
Yeah. You even actually have a point of momentum from that defense. Because you rolled, you got 3 and they got too, so you can put it in the pool.
Okay, I will just do it without trying to understand
Sure,
how it works right now. Yes. So Zappy, in Zappy thing, so a question, because I know that Mala pistol shoots darts, but I was envisioning these darts to be like poisoned tipped and not like damaging. So in my idea, we are trying to like capture at least some of them for questioning.
That makes sense.
Stuff like this.
I think you're the one who has the Mala pistol as an asset, and you can say the special thing about it is that it can do a poison dart fire.
Okay, so I'm not so sure about the fate of the blue person, but the white person. I think Zappy, even though I have like a blade in one hand and gun in the other hand, I'm going to push them against the wall and like try to grab their head and like smash it into the wall just hard enough for them to be like knocked out, plus the poison, but not hard enough to like break their like visor, because then they will like freeze immediately. So
Absolutely.
I'm trying to like knock them out in the fight. So I'm not sure. My short blades probably do not apply. So
Right.
I'm going to just like roll duty and battle.
Okay. So 15's difficulty is a 1.
I'm going to buy a die from you, so that you also have some fun.
Some
too.
threat to play with.
Yes.
Okay, you get 3d20.
Oh my god, that's just 1.
Just 1. However, you have banged them significantly.
And there's a 20.
Yes. And I think as you do that, that Mala pistol kind of like they smack your hand, and that Mala pistol goes flying into the snow somewhere.
Sure.
You'll be able to find it later because you bought it as an asset, but it's out for the duration of this fight. But they will crumple to the ground. And so they are going to go. So I think that we're going to take a couple shots at Christades. Christades, why don't you roll your move plus whatever to defend here? That's 2 successes. Okay.
Plus a personal shield.
Plus a personal shield to increase difficulty. So they will tag you, but it's only because both of those troops are firing, and they're going to hit you for 2 points of damage.
Okay.
Kind of catches you around that corner. We've still got Pin and Sister Samaya to go on this round, I believe. So which of you wishes to go next? Pin, let's have you go next.
Let's take another shot at this other troop.
Okay.
While continuing the conversation. Ooh.
Difficulty is 2.
Nope, that's a miss.
Okay, so you'll fire at them to kind of duck behind cover there. They're going to return and try and hit you. So go ahead and roll your move plus what you want for your defense.
What is my defense?
So move plus whatever you want. Duty, power, what?
I'll guess this is power because it's saving my own skin. Oh, good thing I did, because
Yeah. You will actually get 2 points of momentum for the momentum pool from that dodge. You can drop that in there. Sister Samaya.
So
we've got 1 troop that's over there being shot at by Pintel, and we've got this other pair of troops over here on the ground.
who is the one with Zappy? Is that a true?
So these 2 in red down below are troops. The one up in the far right hand upper corner is a troop. And then this one in the middle that turned upside down, they're out but unconscious.
Ah, okay, yeah. How 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 many rooms can I move each turn?
So you can move one zone, but you can also spend a momentum to move an additional zone.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to spend a momentum to move into the zone with the 2 troop,
Okay.
and then I'm going to attack one of them.
So your movement is your action, but if you want to spend 2 momentum from the momentum pool, you can go first on that next round. Do you want to do that?
Oh no, that's fine, that's fine.
If you do that, you'll be able to go before they do.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just going to put myself there.
Then I think they're going to take shots at you as you come in there. Go ahead and make your move roll for your defense.
I think that's 2.
Yeah. So let's roll their 3d20. So they will hit you for 2 points. Essentially, you come rushing in at them. They're firing wildly as you come in, and then suddenly you are up in their face with your blade out. Let's have you take your action.
Yeah, so so I think I still like cut them with my white broadsword. I am going to go.
Okay. Do you want to spend a momentum for an extra die?
No. I think that let me see. I think that's 1. If I use battle and yeah, I think that's 1 success.
So that is going to miss. Do you want to
Oh,
spend determination to re-roll?
So right now I can only spend a determination to reroll, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to use it, so I'm going to reroll a 16.
You can re-roll both dice because, or wait, it's a 14 a hit?
14 is a hit.
Yeah. So you can re-roll the 16.
Yeah, so that's 2 14. So
So
that's
2.
2 hits.
So you will slash them and take one of them down. You can spend 2 momentum from the momentum pool if you want to additionally cut down the other one because they're just troops.
Yeah, sure. I will do that.
Tell me what that looks like. You come rushing up, they fired at you, they hit you, and then what do we see on screen?
Yeah, I think like this time I don't block, so like it hits me like somewhere on the chest or something like on the shoulder, and then I just like cut them both off at midriff.
Absolutely, and they just crash to the ground. Let's see. This last guy doesn't know that everybody is dead, so I think he is going to take a shot at you, Pin. Oh, go ahead and roll your defense. I should have spent that threat.
I don't know that it would have mattered because I rolled a 1 and an 8.
Okay, so you dodge out of the way like a master. Let's have you take your action.
Let's take another shot at this guy.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm telling the hostage, you can speak freely in front of the Fremen, but the Mentat and the Bene Gesserit, they'll report everything they see. So be careful what you say.
I understand.
That's 1 success.
So that will hit him. And he's a troop, so that will drop him. And I think that like it gets quiet there in the aftermath. And you will grab up one of these persons, and you can see the facility off a little bit in the distance. And I think you can take this hostage and the person that's unconscious, and you can trudge your way through the snow. And I'm going to kind of, since we only have a couple minutes left, I'm going to kind of shorthand what I think. You will find that this is an illegal mining operation. Their ship isn't here, but these are the main people, the main smugglers that you took out in this fight. What turns out that essentially Camasso sent a communication to her person to tell them to get out of there, and that got intercepted. And that was sort of the complication there, is why they were out. But I think that amongst you can shut this mining operation down, but B, I think amongst the papers and things there, you will find a couple of identity records that clearly the smugglers have made some false IDs for a couple of people, and you will have the names and some other identifying information for the House Ovestre assassins who are in the city. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going to stop for today. We'll take up with following up from that and projects and all of that stuff next time. So I would like to do a quick stars and wishes here, just to go through that. So let's start. Let's start with Brian with Pintel. Stars, wishes.
Oh, stars all around. Everyone was great. Had a good time. And wishes. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, just more of the same is good for me.
Okay, I think that's absolutely fair. And then Sister Samaya.
I definitely enjoyed this session. We really get into like the system, like both the asset and the combat, and we also get some like role playing time, like with interviewing the counter worker and figuring out who is in charge, and also like setting up these false flag smuggling network to like flash out. I think it's definitely shaping up to be like an interesting story for which because we only have one session left, I want to like see if we can arrive at some kind of like cliffhanger or like some kind of like temporary like conclusion.
Yeah,
like I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. A change in the situation at the end of that to kind of set things forward. I think that's fair.
yeah.
Christy. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Christades.
Yeah, thanks for sharing more aspects of the Dune system with us. Got our fight, got some RP. So yeah, I think just echoing all around what's been saying.
Okay. Anything wishes?
Um, I think if I'd like there to be a scene next time with Sister Samaya and Christatus. I think it's going to be along the lines of like atonement.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be interesting, right? Like we should definitely talk about like
what that death means. I think that's fair. Zappy.
Stars for initiating the project. I really like that Crusaders jumped in on ways we can like improve the life and not be only the menacing power who exploits people. Stars for the combat map. Trying to think of else stuff. Okay, wish-wise, I still wish to see the voice in power. I was quietly hoping that I will hear like kill him, so from one troop to the other. So I'm still posting this with so I'm still posing this wish, and I really wish to also have a conversation with Crusaders because and see how his fascination of fighting is shaping. And his first
Absolutely.
combat mission.
Yeah, we'll definitely start out with some RP roleplay and conversation at the start of next session, kind of decompress after the combat. And so on.
One more wish. I'm not sure if we have much time, but I would love to see us doing something since we have only one session left. Yes.
Okay.
A question because we have lower club because we have like one session left or two sessions left.
Just one.
Just one. I would love to see us doing something about our house's domains. I'm not sure what. Maybe just like framing a picture. Maybe just like framing a scenes about our house's domain because we did talk about them, and I was really curious to see this artistic expertise or political machinery somewhere. It can be like background or us talking about this. I'm just like curious to use this what we set up.
No, that's a good thing. We'll do a kind of maybe a collaborative scene to talk about like some of those elements and what that looks like.
Yeah. Like maybe in the next session when we do like the downtime, like long-term project scene, we instead focusing on how we engage with the house's domains and specialty and stuff.
Yeah. How you bring those to bear on what you're doing or not. I like it. Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording